Hi, this is Claude Diamond. I'm talking with one of my mentees who I'm really proud of, Tyler Skipper. Tyler just got started. You just came back from what, Afghanistan a couple weeks ago?
Yep.
And you've been hitting the ground running. You've been hustling. Tell us, you just did a great deal. How much did you make?
The deal's for $20,000.
Is that
So
20,000 in your pocket? Real money?
yeah, 20,000 first deal.
Round of applause, dude. How long did it take you by the time you found the property till the time you got the signed contract and then you remarketed it?
Signed contract was in 3 days, and till the time I remarketed it was about a day or two later. Called a investor who had contacted me off my Bandit sign. So got up with him, said I got this deal. It's a great deal, huge spread, and I'll assign it to you for the said price. And he took the bait, and you know,
Interesting choice of words. Took the break
yeah,
because we use a lot of fishing analogy, letting out more line
yeah,
and things like that in the gut
right,
system. So net, you're going to make 22,000 on this deal, something like that.
yep.
What's it like? What's it like going to your wife before Christmas and saying, "Hey, honey, we're going to get a check for 20,000 before the holidays"?
It's a good feeling.
I would
It's
think.
not one I've experienced in a while, so
Yeah.
or at
And
all.
what do you think? What do you think you did right? What did you do wrong? Share with the people watching this so they can learn from what your experience was.
Well, in the beginning, I had offered him a price. I mean, he wanted just way too much money, and I told him, those numbers won't work.
How did you
You know,
find this
it,
guy? I'm sorry to interrupt, but how did you even
yeah,
get started? Let's start at the beginning here. How did you find
right.
this property?
He called me off a Bandit sign.
Well, tell
I,
folks what a bandit sign is. A lot of them might not know.
it's a yellow. It looks like a political sign that you'd see.
No more
Rami
political
Orion.
signs.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
And so he
So,
saw a sign. Where did you attach it to? A car, a
uh,
telephone
a
pole?
little stake. There's little aluminum stakes that you attach them to, and um, you just place them all over in really popular areas. Intersections, near its big subdivisions, anywhere that you think you'd find somebody that's looking to sell their home or might be in a bad situation.
And so he called you. The prospect called you.
Yeah,
How cool is that? Instead of you calling people, they call you. We call that attraction marketing. I love that.
yeah, that's the best type of marketing.
It's great. So he called you up, saw your sign. What did he say? How did it transpire?
He's just wondering what I was all about. He had a home for sale. Was looking for a quick sale. Didn't want to deal with an agent. I told him, I'm a private investor, not looking, to make a commission off his property or anything, but give him something that's beneficial for the both of us. He told me a price that he would like to get. Told him that just wouldn't work.
Why did you
You
tell
know,
him that? It wouldn't work.
there just wasn't enough of a spread in it for it to be beneficial for me to make a profit off of, because that's what we're here to do is, make money.
Okay. And solve problems too, right?
Right,
What
right.
would you say his problem was in terms of motivation and everything?
He had hurt himself. He had been in a car accident, so he was disabled, and there was renovations and stuff that needed to be done, and he just wanted to get the property off his hands as quickly as possible so he could, you know, enjoy his retirement and not have to deal with any more headaches.
Okay. And how did he get to his price? His asking
Uh,
price?
it's funny because people, they have these prices in mind and they say, oh, well, the neighbor's house sold for this, so mine must be worth this.
Yeah,
But,
in 2007, right?
right, yeah, yeah, like 5 years ago. But anyways, yeah, he took I guess a collection of, sold homes and did the median or whatever they do. And he said, I'll take 200,000 for it. And it was just too close to retail value.
Okay.
So,
And what was your goal? To get this property at a marketable price?
uh,
Do you practice price or terms when you're negotiating as a strategy? One of the things we
Yeah,
teach.
absolutely. That's the first thing you should say to somebody is I either got to have price or terms so that they know, right off the bat that, if they don't give you a good price, they got to give you those terms. And he didn't want to do a lease purchase, so I knew then that he's got to give me price, or it's just not something I can. It's not a property I can do a deal with.
Okay, so a lot of times people, when they talk price, and you just came back from Afghanistan, the last thing you probably wanted to do is go to a bank, get a loan, tie up a lot of down payment, and get a 200,000 mortgage on your back on top of your own home. So what was your thinking, your strategy on how you were going to make money with this guy?
That I'd have to find a private investor. I'd get the home under contract, and I'd take it and assign it to another investor for a higher price.
Okay. And why would that other investor buy that home from you? You'd obviously have to get a good enough price so there's enough room for him to want to pay you and still want the property.
Yeah, absolutely. I had to create enough of a spread that he could go in, throw a little bit of money into rehabbing it, and then sell it for a greater price. And, that it was in a marketable area. It was right near a military base. So I knew that, an officer and his wife would probably love to have a home like that for them and their family, right on the intercoastal. So I just had to create that spread and, assign it to another investor.
So I'm dying to know, how did you create the spread, though? He wanted one price that was unrealistic. You needed a much better price. So how did you get him? What did it sound like? How did you negotiate that?
Well, he called me back and he's like, he was like, I know we couldn't agree on the $200,000 price, and said, yeah, that's just.
So you had one meeting. It didn't work. You met him in person or on the phone?
On the phone.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you set up a face-to-face meeting?
I didn't do that because I didn't want to drive 45 minutes to go see this property until I had the right price or terms.
What's the rule we teach on that one point?
Yeah, always get a guarantee of the price or terms before you go and drive and waste your time.
Yeah, don't burn up gas. Make sure that you have a high probability of getting a contract or a check. And I teach this because Mr. Genius here has driven so many miles. So many miles to a property, and they say they'll think about it, and then 5 hours back home, and that's not being very smart as an investor. So you were pretty smart.
Yeah. So I appreciate that.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
The only reason I teach people is so they don't duplicate my mistakes and waste a day driving to a property where the people would never do a deal with you anyway.
Right. Yeah. That's not how you want to spend most of your day.
Yeah. Let's go back to what you were talking about. So how did the negotiation go to get the price that you wanted, and what was that price?
Well, he called me back, and obviously we couldn't agree on the previous terms. So he's like, what's the best you can do? And I said, well, what's the least you could do? And he gave me a price of 160. No. It was 170. And I said, I still think that's a little too high, but what I can do is send you an offer letter. And I took his email down, and I sent him an offer for $148,000, and he sent me the counter offer back for 160. So, and I knew at 160, with the homes in the neighborhood selling for the low 300s, that it was a very good deal.
Now wait a second, low 300s. Something happened that you discovered after the fact about the pricing of this property when you were doing your due diligence, because this is an enormous spread here.
Right.
This is enormous. Is this beginner's luck, or are you just the smartest guy walking?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. So that's the part I want people to know. You did your due diligence. We call it, that really means research. So you negotiated, and in your mind you thought it was worth maybe 200, 210?
Yeah.
And you negotiated based on that. And then after the fact, you did a lot more research, and what did you discover?
Right. I went and I got the CMA on the property.
Tell people what a CMA is.
Comparable market analysis.
Okay.
And I work closely with I have a good friend who's a real estate agent who can provide me with stuff like that. So You got to develop that relationship if you're getting into this business. Have somebody that you can go to if you're not an agent yourself or have access to that. But I went to him, and also I went to a couple local agents in that area and asked them what the property would sell for. So then through all of them, I gathered that, hey, this property is worth a lot more than I thought it would be. So I was pretty excited when we finally agreed on $160,000.
Which means that you literally had how much of a spread?
140,000.
Yeah, 140,000. I think I was more excited than you when you called me about this deal.
Yeah.
Okay. And you and I had quite a few conversations about this. We kind of brainstormed. Do you want to keep the property? Do you want to buy the property? Do you want to rent it? Do you want to sandwich lease it? Or do you want to just upgrade its sweat equity and raise the price even higher? Or do you want to just sell it and get some cash before Christmas?
Right.
And I know this was hard for you because, I know you're going to beat yourself up in the future and say, oh, Claude, remember that property where I could have made
I know.
a lot more money.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I decided that I'd just assign it and, make the quick money and then keep the volume rolling because, feel like I'm on a hot streak right now.
Well, we often teach people that you got to be very proactive. You've got to do some marketing. Both you did a little old school, which is fine.
Yeah.
Okay, you hung up signs. You got a sign on your car. Things like good old school stuff. You're networking with people. I'm hearing that. You're talking to people in the business already.
Right.
You and I were just talking about you joining some meetup and real estate clubs and meeting more people and talking with them. But then we just had a discussion about doing that virtual attraction marketing, that using Facebook, using Twitter, using YouTube, using blogs and web pages.
Right.
And it's kind of there's no one little thing that does it all for you, does it?
No, you really need to have multiple streams of marketing.
I like that, which lead to multiple streams of income.
Absolutely.
On the property. So I'm dying for you to tell the people, how did you, we needed to find you an investor so we could, and we call this, some people call it assignment. I like to call it arbitrage. Arbitrage is basically when you find something, you lock it up under a contract, you create value in that contract, which represents the purchase price or the terms of the property, and you sell that commodity to a third party, just like gold or oil or sugar futures. That contract that you had represented a deal that was going to make somebody $100,000 plus. Yeah, that's an easy thing to sell, isn't it? When you go to investors.
I fell in love. I was like, this is the most amazing concept I've ever heard of.
Well, thank you. It's just the thing is, you're creating something of value. You see something that other people do not see. You had the courage, the guts, to get it to negotiate like an investor. Okay, you got it on contract, you got it in writing, and I stress this to people: you got to move. Time is your friend or your enemy. You got to move fast on these contracts.
Right.
You can always get out of an agreement.
Yeah.
But you got to get it in writing so you're protected.
Yeah.
So tell us about the next part, finding the investor.
I was going to go around, I was going to market it on Craigslist and stuff and start, getting the word out there that I had this property with this nice spread. But it just so happened that the first week that I put my bandit signs out, a couple local investors had contacted me and said, I'm in the area, I'm a cash buyer, looking to buy some properties and rehab them. So I did a little pre-screening on those guys and, figured out what their price range was, what they were looking to do, what areas. And then, I got on my list and I said, oh, well, this guy seems like he'd be the right fit for the property. So I gave him a call and, he came out, had to do a little, I guess, finagling as far as, getting him in the property, showing him around and stuff like that. Having him bring his partners, not investors, So they were all happy about the property and worked out pretty good.
Can you tell us a little bit about the negotiation, how it sounded? What did you ask for? What did they counter? And
Well,
would you mind it?
yeah, I said, I got this property with a $140,000 spread, and I'd like to assign it. I'm tied up with a few other things right now, so I'd be willing to assign it to you for a price. And if you want to come out and take a look at it and tell me what you can do, then we'll go from there. So he came out and he offered, I think it was 15,000, and I ended up getting him at 20.
Okay.
So
First to mention price rule.
yeah,
Were you
you
happy?
don't
Were you
you
happy
let
with?
them mention price.
Yeah. Were you happy with 20?
Yeah, I was. I was very
How many hours did you put into this deal?
not probably 4 or 5 total at that point.
Oh, 5 hours of work. How much
Yeah.
money did you put down to secure this property?
$100 earnest deposit.
Wait, say that again. I got to hear this.
$100 earnest deposit.
Oh my gosh. Did you used to own used car lots or something before you went overseas?
Yeah, I've flipped a couple mobile homes.
Okay. Well, it's just a great deal. And I love that you did it through the sweat, your own ingenuity, your own ability to negotiate, to get it in a contract. You just did good old fashioned American hustle.
Right.
Little knowledge, little hand holding, but you made it happen.
Yeah.
And that is so, that I'm proud of you, man. That's
Thanks.
that you're a doer. You made it happen. Sheer force of will. What do you see? What did your wife say that night? Did she know all about this deal or anything? I mean, did you come home and say, "Honey, $20,000 is going to be in the checking account before the holidays"? What?
Yeah, I did.
How did that feel?
She didn't really know how to take it because she's like, well, you just started, so she was pretty baffled. So, but very excited.
Yeah.
Very, very excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
So,
what do you see in the future for yourself? What are the deals? What are you working on right now? I know you're into other things too now in real estate.
right. I got another property. It's in the Raleigh area. I'm working on that one. It's free and clear. Hoping to set up either a subject to with an option to buy, or I got another one, a lease purchase that I'm working on, and then I have a few rehabs going on with some mobile homes. So, yeah, got a few in the works, and I'm hoping to have a lot more before the New Year's. Yeah, it's exciting. It's a rush when you get that agreement and you get that check. It's a big deal.
It's I call it the second best feeling in the world. I'm not going to delve on that.
I can agree. I can agree.
I think it's almost addictive when
Yeah.
you are making, and you made the money honestly. You helped a seller solve his problem.
Mm-hmm.
You helped a investor group. Their problem was they need also to find deals that are under market. And you're
Right.
what we call, you're like a bloodhound. You know how to sniff out a good deal.
Yeah.
And what do you, for the future, do you see yourself becoming the investor and making the gross amount of money rather than, or do you see yourself as just arbitraging a couple deals every month and making a great income and not getting involved with the repairs and the financials and everything?
No, definitely. The quick nickels now, and then the slow dimes in the future.
Yeah.
So.
And then you build up enough money or capital where you can buy the properties and
Yeah.
where you can rent them out long term or at least purchase them or flip
Right.
them for capital gains. And I know you can exchange the money you make on one deal and put it into another deal and build it up to an enormous amount of money.
Right.
And that's called the tax exchange, where you forego the taxes
Mm-hmm.
on the property and you keep that investment capital to buy bigger and better investment properties. So
Yeah.
I'll give you the last word here. Anything else you want to say to people? Anybody in the North Carolina area, if they want to contact you, is that okay?
Yeah, that's completely fine. Number's 910-777-5333.
Great.
Give me a call anytime, and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions or maybe help give you a little direction.
Super.
So
Super. Well, great. Hey, this was such a thanks for sharing this with my listeners and hopefully people who live in your area. This is so motivating, especially before the holidays. And people, I guess, we hear there's a lot of get-rich gurus and people telling you to walk on hot coals and stuff. But it can be done if you
absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think you need? The right tools, the right. What do you think you need to make this happen?
Little chutzpah, as you'd say.
Chutzpah.
Chutzpah. Yeah, chutzpah. I don't know. I don't ever use the word, but okay. I got it. Yeah. And, just guts. You just got to get out there, pick up the phone, make the phone calls, put the signs out and give offers, send out offers. And the worst they can say is no.
Yeah. And, do a lot of role playing practice.
Yeah.
All the time.
Right.
Have a system that works where you're comfortable and you're not making the other person uncomfortable and where you're working smart. And that you're exemplifying that. You worked very smart. Thank you very much. This was great.
Yeah, absolutely, Claude.
You take care.
You too.